Hello, I'm Lara Kulcharsan and this is Newsfeed, your dose of what people are talking about online. Dozens of U.S. students across the state of California and from Yale University are on hunger strike. They're protesting against Israel's blockade of Gaza. It's been more than 2 months since Israel stopped food and medical aid supplies from entering the war-ravaged enclave. The students are also demanding that their universities divest from companies producing military weapons and surveillance technology.
We are a movement that is going to keep getting stronger and stronger as we go on until our demands are met. Our hunger strike is symbolically sharing in the fight of Palestinians who are starving all across the Gaza Strip. Currently, I believe we are at 6 campuses, a little over 30 students total participating statewide. Standing up for Palestinians is important because every single human life matters, no matter where they are, no matter who they are, but also because it will impact all of our lives in very real and material ways if we don't stand up now.
We demand our universities end all ties to Israeli institutions within study abroad.
We demand our university to lift time, place, and manner policies that infringe on our First Amendment right of free speech and protest.
We want justice, you say how?
We want justice, you say how?
Cut ties with Lockheed now.
Cut ties with Lockheed now.
The student movement will continue to persist until all of our demands are met. Long live the student intifada.
Because if they can't eat, we won't eat. If they're being starved, we'll starve too. So hear us now.
Not another nickel, not another dime.
Not another nickel, not another dime.
No more money for Israel's crime.
No more money for Israel's crime.
From the river to the sea.
From the river to the sea.
Palestine will be free.
Palestine will be free.
Despite international agencies warning that starvation is now the main cause of death in Gaza, Israel has refused to lift the blockade. Instead, it has intensified attacks with bombs raining down on already demolished homes, schools, and hospitals. Dozens were killed on Tuesday in pre-dawn attacks on Gaza. The situation is now so dire in Gaza that the World Health Organization has warned famine will permanently affect an entire generation of Palestinian children.
This is Siwar, and Siwar, she's 5 months old. She is severely, acutely malnourished. If you look at her little legs, she just has the skin on her bones. When she cries, you can't barely hear the sound because she's so exhausted. In this hospital, like in the entire Gaza Strip, there is not enough medical supplies, nutritious food, which are specialized to treat a little baby like this. We have more and more children affected by malnutrition. This must stop. The humanitarian aid must enter at scale inside Gaza. If not, babies like this are gonna die.
But as the suffering in Gaza worsens, the US government continues to punish one of its oldest and wealthiest universities for its pro-Palestinian stance. President Donald Trump's administration is cutting another $450 million in grants to Harvard University. It accuses the institution of promoting pervasive discrimination and anti-Semitic harassment. The penalties come after the administration canceled $2.2 billion in federal funding to the university, bringing the total financial penalty to approximately $2.6 billion. Harvard says it's amending their existing lawsuit, where they are suing the Trump administration for illegal demands over staffing and the content of its courses. While President Trump is making a historic visit to the Middle East, his meme coin is making noise back home. Buyers spent $148 million in Trump coin for a chance to dine with him at his private golf club near Washington on Monday 22nd and a VIP tour of the White House. But critics warned the coin could be a security risk, letting anonymous buyers pay for access and possibly influence.
3 days before Trump was inaugurated, he launched his own cryptocurrency meme coin to monetize the presidency, and it's worked out well for him. Trump and his allies have reportedly made more than $100 million in fees alone, even as everyday investors have lost out on a collective $2 billion. At the same time, Trump has essentially used the entire force of the federal government to actively promote cryptocurrency, and by association, his meme coin. He created a cryptocurrency working group to propose new regulations around digital currencies. He slashed any and all regulations passed by President Biden on crypto, and he even signed an executive order to create a strategic Bitcoin reserve to have the government directly involved in buying and selling cryptocurrency. But here's the thing about these meme coins. Unlike political donations, anyone in the world can buy these coins and essentially invest in Trump. Big corporations, foreign oligarchs, authoritarian governments, no one is off limits. And guess what? Trump's DOJ disbanded the office in charge of investigating cryptocurrency-related fraud. But Trump's not even trying to hide the corruption, as he announces that the top 220 investors in his meme coin will get a private dinner with the President of the United States and a VIP tour of the White House. And right on cue, immediately after they announced the dinner, Trump's coin surged 55%, making him and his family millions.
Names carry weight, especially when spoken from the balcony of the Vatican and echo across centuries. When Pope Leo XIV stepped into the white robes, he chose more than a name, he chose a battle. And that battle is artificial intelligence. Pope Leo XIV, born Robert Francis Prevost, says his choice of name is a direct reference to Pope Leo XIII, who led the church during the Industrial Revolution. In an address to the College of Cardinals, Leo XIV said he sees strong parallels between the upheaval of that era and today's AI boom.
Ho pensato di prendere il nome di Leone XIV. Diverse le ragioni, però principalmente il Papa Leone XIII, infatti, con la storica enciclica Rerum Novarum, affrontò la questione sociale nel contesto della prima grande rivoluzione industriale. E oggi la Chiesa offre a tutti il suo patrimonio di dottrina sociale per rispondere a un'altra rivoluzione industriale e agli sviluppi dell'intelligenza artificiale che comportano nuove sfide per la difesa della dignità umana, della giustizia e del lavoro.
Leo XIII was known for championing labor rights and addressing inequality as society shifted from manual trade to factory work. By aligning himself with that legacy, Leo XIV is sending a clear message. He plans to confront the challenges posed by AI to workers and global society. It's a timely move. According to the World Economic Forum, 41% of employers plan to downsize this year due to AI automation. Already, tech companies are replacing workers with AI tools, and concerns over the exploitation of data labelers are growing. The Church has been warning about these issues. In 2024, Pope Francis called AI-driven misinformation a distortion of reality. In his final public remarks before his death, he reflected on the cost of losing human connection in a tech-first world. Your favorite chatbot may give you quick, confident replies, but they're not always accurate. Research from French AI testing platform Giscard shows that when users tell AI to keep it brief, it can lead to more hallucinations and misinformation. The study tested ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Llama, Grok, and DeepSeek, and all struggled when asked to be concise.
When prompted for brief explanations, chatbots prioritized brevity over accuracy. Models like Gemini 1.5 Pro and GPT-4o gave incorrect answers up to 20% more often. Chatbots also tended to agree with users when presented with confident but controversial claims instead of correcting them. The research shows how small tweaks can cause major changes in how these models behave. Faced with that pressure, some AIs choose between sounding unhelpful or just making things up.
What's in a name? Enough for Mexico to take tech giant Google to court for renaming the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America for its Maps users in the US. The name was changed back in January on President Donald Trump's very first day in office. In her lawsuit, Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum said Gulf of America should be reserved for parts of the water body corresponding to U.S. territory.
Back then, Sheinbaum had said the following, quote, "What Google is doing here is changing the name of the continental shelf of Mexico and Cuba, which has nothing to do with Trump's decree, which applied only to the U.S. continental shelf." Sheinbaum said at the press briefing that the lawsuit had been filed, but she did not provide any additional details. Mexico has argued that the Gulf of America label should only apply to the part port over the U.S. continental shelf. The U.S. has control over about 46% of the Gulf, Mexico controls about 49%, and Cuba controls about 5%.
By Wednesday, Google had not yet responded to the lawsuit. Previously, President Trump said the U.S. had a right to change the name because it did the most work there. But the Mexican leader says the U.S. can only rename their portion of the territory. In January, she asked Google to reconsider its decision. Back then, the company, which sees more than 1 billion users access its Maps feature daily, said it regularly changes names when they are updated by governments. Cannes has always been where film meets fashion, with stars wearing outfits louder than the paparazzi. But this year, the festival laid down a sharp new rule: no nudity or excessively voluminous clothing on the red carpet. And they dropped the news just the day before opening night, catching stylist mid-hem.
And I thought the Met was messy. The Cannes Film Festival announced the day before the first red carpet they're banning naked dresses, voluminous gowns, and dramatic trains. They say that the outfits slow the red carpet traffic or complicate theater seating will be denied entry on the red carpet. What? Like this tweet said, have I woken up in an alternate timeline? I think we did. And listen, I do understand, because I'm sure it does slow down traffic. As much as I am team fashion, it does kind of take away from the actors that are being honored for these movies. But can you imagine being a stylist and hearing this news the day before? Not a week, the day before. What do you do? What do you do? Aside from Chopard, what is Bella Hadid gonna wear? I mean, listen, for the sake of fashion, I love me a train. I love me a grand entrance. I also love me some timeless looks. That is really what the Cannes red carpet is. Either way, I'm gonna be happy. But how messy is that?
Staying in the world of high fashion and pushing boundaries, Halima Aden made history as the first hijab-wearing model to break barriers on global runways and magazine covers. She has graced the pages of Vogue Arabia, Sports Illustrated, and Allure, redefining beauty standards and paving the way for greater representation in the fashion industry. I sat down with her at TRT World's Next Forum 2025, where she answered my rapid-fire questions.
Okay, let me do that. That was shady. Let me redo the first one.
Would you like me to ask the question again? All right. What's one thing that people get wrong about modest fashion?
That it's only one way.
What's something the fashion industry still needs to learn?
That modesty is the oldest fashion staple.
What's one moment in your career that still gives you chills?
Going back to Kakuma.
What would you say to your younger self back in Kakuma?
Don't give up.
Any role models that you look up to?
My mom.
What does confidence mean to you?
When you could do it regardless of where you're at in life.
One fashion trend you will never try?
There's a lot.
Give us one.
Really, really, really tall heels.
Your favorite Somali dish that you would recommend everyone?
Baris, but you have to have banana with it.
Instagram, TikTok, or time offline?
Time offline, the older I get.
How do you handle online criticism or backlash?
I get offline.
What advice do you have for young people trying to maintain authenticity on social media?
Be careful with what you post, be mindful, because you don't know what other people are going through when they come across your content.
And what's next for Halima Aden?
Next is top secret.
And that's our show. Find our latest stuff on YouTube and do subscribe to our channel. See you soon.